What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Sigma Swag Podcast. Your host, John, and this is my brother,
Joe.
And together, we're two Sigmas, and we're going to school you guys on a thing or two. What's the topic today?
Topic today is the extinction of female morals.
The extinction of female morals. So, can you imagine the year is 3024? You go into a museum somewhere, they have this big display on the wall, and there it is, women that have morals. Oh, what's that? Oh, well, 100 years ago, these women used to cover up their ankles, and they would wear long dresses, and they treated men with respect, and they were wives.
Not anymore. Now, by that time in that year, they probably would just.
Well, actually,
everybody would probably look the same with all the fruitcakes wanting to change their gender.
Actually, you can't even say 100. Technically, we could do that in a museum now. Because if we fast forward 100 years and then rewind 100 years to 2024, there's really not much of that going on anyways. And that's what we're going to talk about today. But first, we want to show a beautiful piece of art from one of our fans or haters.
Our most illustrious fans actually took time out of his day to make us a picture. He drew us such a pretty picture. Take a look.
Yep. So this fan art was made by a vegan who is a veteran that also hates America.
Oh my gosh.
Sounds like our target audience. So the Smegma Swig podcast.
Hey, seriously, this is great.
What is that? Like, what are the fish? Where does that come into play?
Those two dudes have a mic, and then there's one giant mic in the middle of the table. I don't know what, I'm not quite sure what he's got going on here, but
I have no idea. But
it was a good attempt. Nice try.
Hilarious.
Nice try, buddy.
Hilarious
nice try.
That a vegan, in between stuffing vegetables into his face, decides to just make some fan art. I appreciate it.
You just killed those plants, bro.
All right. So,
the extinction of female morals.
Yep.
Let's get into it.
All right, so we're going to do, like we did last time, a little bit of a history lesson for you guys, because history is very important because it always repeats itself, because no matter if it's 3024, BC, whatever, it doesn't matter. Humans will always be humans, and human nature is timeless. So, we're going to refer to the Bible. When I think of female promiscuity, females not having any morals, what do you associate that with in terms of the Bible?
Well, a lot of that can be traced back to Jezebel.
The Jezebel spirit.
A lot of people have heard of this. It's kind of like the I would call it the foundation piece for
whores.
Yes, pretty much.
The foundation piece for whores. So, according to the Bible, Jezebel provoked conflict that weakened Israel for decades by interfering with the exclusive worship of the Hebrew God Yahweh, disregarding the rights of the common man, and defying the great prophets Elijah and Elisha. So, if anyone knows anything about the Bible, that's probably one of the worst things that you could do against the then and that time Christians or the Israelites. So she's directly causing conflict with God's chosen prophets, which back in that day was a huge sin, and we're going to find out what happened to this lovely Jezebel. What do you think Jezebel would have looked like if she was in 2024? How would you describe her? In your mind, what comes to mind?
An OnlyFans, an Instagram influencer.
Instagram influencer, Jezebel.
Yep.
All right.
100%.
So the modern Jezebel would be a woman who's sexually promiscuous or controlling other women to be that way, influencing them to, I don't know, go on the internet and sell their dignity for $7.99 a month, maybe through a subscription platform like, I don't know. OnlyFans doesn't come to mind at all.
Nah, not that.
Not at all. So she's described, this Jezebel in the Bible, she's described as painting her eyes and adorning herself to seduce a military commander. This can be found in 2 Kings 9:30. So that's probably a very just vague overall description
I would say that's very vague
If you
in
were
overall
to
scripture.
take a writer and write, let's just say, a modern day Bible, or not even Bible, but story, she would probably be described as someone who dressed very scantily, just a slut, basically.
Mm-hmm.
We all know it. We've all see it. Everyone pretends on the internet to support it, and then you see these girls in real life, and it makes the other insecure girls jealous. And like, oh, why is she dressing like that? She's got her ass hanging out. Blah, 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 blah. Then the men are all complaining. Then we get on the internet, and it's a different story. Different story. So additionally, her promotion of the worship of Baal, a fertility god, and her encouragement of ritual prostitution in Israel have led to some to assume she was sexually promiscuous. You don't say.
I mean, nobody just dresses like that to dress like that.
You don't say.
If you're walking the walk, you're talking the talk too. You know what I mean?
That's like a woman today promoting OnlyFans and encouraging other women to get on OnlyFans, and then some might assume that she is promiscuous. I never would have guessed. Great. So basically, she's been recognized as a model of wicked women embodying the characteristics of cruelty, greed, and vanity. What ended up happening to Jezebel? In the very end, she was a promiscuous, evil woman who ruined men's lives.
In the end,
What happened in the end?
In the end, God decided he'd had enough, and as it was foretold by the prophet Elijah, she was thrown out of a window, hurled to her death, and eaten by dogs. That's rough. That's a rough way to go.
that.
1 minute you're some, hot, seductive, evil woman, doing the evil laugh, walking through the halls, thinking about how many people you've killed and how you've really manipulated everything to go your way. And then the next thing you know, you're getting tossed out of a window and some pup is eating you for lunch.
And if a dog doesn't like you to the point where he wants to eat you, you must be a
You're a
sack
bad
of
person.
shit. You're a sack of
You're
shit.
a bad
like
person.
if dogs love me. So that's what happened to Jezebel. The Jezebel spirit is going to end up getting eaten by dogs. Unfortunately, we've been seeing a lot of stuff going around lately that resembles the Jezebel spirit.
It's everywhere.
It's
everywhere.
It's a very dominant force in the world, but most importantly in the Western world, and it's a huge problem. I've been seeing this viral post go around, and it explains, I think, how bad certain things really have gotten. So we're gonna pull that up for you guys now. So here's a post with a woman with her fake titties out. Like all the way out. That's not even, you can't even argue that's how the shirt's cut. I can't help it. There are some shirts like that when you do have big titties, and that's not really an issue. I mean, okay, cool, whatever. There's your cleavage. You have huge titties. No shirt company wants to make a shirt that hides the cleavage completely. And a little bit of cleavage is fine. No big deal.
This right here is just
And then this cuck.
completely.
Honestly,
just out
tired
line.
of seeing this question. If you're too insecure to let your girl be a bad bitch, then you don't need to be dating a bad bitch.
First of all, that's not what being a bad bitch is, okay? Second of all, any self-respecting man is not going to... First of all, he's not going to date a woman who wants to dress like that with all of her stuff hanging out. Second of all, if she were to come out looking like that, there's no way he'd let her leave the house. There have been women in the past that I was with when they came out looking not that bad, but had other stuff going on. I was like, no, nope, absolutely not. Go change.
And that's when you were with her, correct?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, because, I'm so insecure. So, I've been seeing tons and tons of women share that exact same post. And they all like, exactly. They're like, oh, this. Like, yeah, for real. I'll dress how I want. I'm going to be single and miserable for the rest of my life. I'm going to be ran through. No, don't stare at me. Stop. I hate when men objectify women.
When you dress like that, that's the message you're portraying. Number one, you might think it's cute. Men don't think it's cute. When we see a woman dressed like that, we think, okay, she's got her stuff on display. She's ready to rock and roll. She's going to be easy. And we automatically put them in a category where we don't take you seriously. We look at you as a toy, and that's all you're ever going to be to us. So You guys complain about where are all the good men at? Well, the good men aren't going to want anything to do with you. You dress like a little slut like that.
Yep, it's very important. That goes back to, I mean, you take marketing, packaging. You could take the best coffee or the best whatever product in the world and you put it into a very mediocre or just cheaply made package that might be easily broken or ripped or whatever upon transition or transportation. No one's going to want it. They're like, well, it might be contaminated or this or that. Like, the way you present yourself is your packaging for your brand, which is who you are and who you're portraying to the world that you are. Doesn't matter that you have your titties and your ass hanging out. Oh, but I'm a good woman. Perception is reality, unfortunately.
For a lot of times. And you know what? Good women understand that you can have it going on, and if you keep yourself more covered, that's going to actually drive men more crazy than if you've got your stuff on display. Like, that right there shows, number one, that you have respect for yourself. It shows men that you are something actually of value because you're not out there just displaying everything for everyone to see.
Yep.
Like, part of what gives something value is scarcity. So if, you have something, i.e. your body, that hardly anybody has seen or can see, that's hugely valuable, especially to a man, because we appreciate that. I'm not going to date somebody who has her stuff on display. I'm not. Whether we're just, out together, whether she's out alone, if we're, at the pool or the beach or whatever, it matters how she's dressed at all times.
Yep. And the women that want to dress like that oftentimes accuse men of being insecure, just like the post says, and blah, 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 blah. But really, in all actuality, I think the women that dress slutty and then call their men insecure when they do it,
they're the ones that are insecure.
They're actually insecure because they feel like they have to show their body in order to feel attractive and worthy and this and that. So that's
And you know what
comical.
that comes back to? That comes back to society, peer pressure, social media, because they all think that
it's attention.
They have to have this attention, that they got to be, the baddest girl out there. When really, the only attention that you should be wanting is the attention of your man. As long as you have his attention, it doesn't matter who else is looking at you or not looking at you.
I think a lot of times women will use attention as a way to control a man, lightly control him. Like, I'm going to go seek attention from all these other men just to show him that if he doesn't do what I want and make me happy, I could easily leave him and I have 1,000 other men lined up to take me out that will let me cuck him and do what I say. And
don't mess with women like that. Leave them immediately. Look, if you guys are seeing somebody, doesn't matter how great she is, if she's got a ton of male friends and acquaintances, just cut it off right there. I mean, I just been there, done that. Nope, not going to happen. Unless she's willing to disrespect everybody else to respect you, it's not worth it. Cut it off. Find somebody who doesn't have anything to do with a ton of men, still talks to exes. Get rid of her.
See ya.
You'd be better off single.
And then you take these other guys that are okay with their woman dressing like a little whore. I think that if he's okay with her dressing that way, then I think he actually doesn't love you as much as he should, or if at all. And I think that he's using you as an object to make himself look better. Like, oh, look at me. I got this bad bitch that has her titties and ass out for everybody else. And all these other guys can see it and they're going to want it, but I'm the one that actually gets it. You're not. She's not fully yours, bro.
No, that's a soy boy mentality. You're sharing her with everybody else who gets to look at her.
Cuck.
So, yeah. Cuck. Capital C.
Cuck alert.
You don't. No man that really cares about a woman is cool with that. That's just not how it goes.
Nope.
It's not how we're built.
Then we're going to get all the hate mail and some more smegma swig posts made because women are like, oh, my man loves me and he'll do whatever I want and blah, blah, blah. He gave me a ring.
Oh, it shouldn't matter if he trusts me enough. No. That's all manipulation. Don't fall for it.
Oh, that's another one I forgot. That absolutely is so idiotic. Yeah, they talk about if you trust each other, it shouldn't matter. What does trust have to do with someone else seeing your all your titties?
If it like that statement right there. If you trust me enough, it won't matter. And then she dresses a certain way and goes out on like a girls' night with her friends. That's like us buying like a Maserati or something like that and parking it in the
Not
hood.
a Maserati. Those are junk.
Oh, well, whatever a nice sports car is. It's like buying a really nice car and then parking it in the middle of the hood at overnight, because we know that the security system's really good on the car, the doors are locked, everything, whatever. You're not going to put something of value that you cherish and care about. You're not going to let it be in a position where somebody's going to try to break into it. Doesn't matter how much you trust the security system on the car. Doesn't matter how much you trust your girl. You're not going to allow her to be in a situation where men are going to come on to her.
Yep, females have a certain instinct, but also
that's
men
why we
do
don't
as
allow
well.
girls' trips, girls' nights. That's why we don't go to bars and clubs. Like, all this stuff is for single people. And I don't really, unless you're there together, which I don't really advocate for doing a whole lot of that either. It's not a good environment. Best to stay away.
Here's a comment from a conversation I saw online. So this guy says, if you unashamedly dress like a slut, then I will unashamedly look at you or look at all you are offering. And then this girl replies, she said, that's fair. It's half the reason I dress like that anyway. So that just goes to show
It's all for
they
attention.
know what they're doing. And
attention.
no real man, a good man, is going to want a woman who knowingly dresses like that for attention. Mm-hmm. I mean, if your attention's not enough for her, then leave her immediately and let her find someone that's going to put up with being cucked, because it shouldn't be you. So, the Jezebel spirit is so prevalent today that now all these young women are doing all this crazy shit online for attention. And it's actually gotten pretty bad. I'm going to read this story from this article over spring break. An Australian adult content creator took her OnlyFans and social media to brag about the hundreds of men she slept with during the spring break in Cancun. Jeez. Bonnie Blue, who comes from the Gold Coast, reportedly went to Mexico with the intent of having sex with 100 men. Instead, she surpassed her target by 22, betting 122 college students from the U.S. in a 21-day span, making $200,000 in the process.
That is insane.
Men were quite literally lined up outside of her hotel room. I blame everybody involved. What kind of disgusting, immoral behavior is that?
How, emasculated should those men feel? Like, you're literally standing in line.
Oh, is it my turn yet? I'm getting hungry. What do they
You're
do?
standing
I
in
can't
line
wait,
like
bro.
that.
It's like they're waiting. It's like they're at the circus waiting for a ride.
Right there, those are not men.
No. So the OnlyFans e-girl and seller of bodily wars is only 24 years of age. She's 24. 122 men in 3 weeks. That's disgusting.
That's we should do the math. That's like,
I'm not spending worth my time. The college boys, this is a quote from her, the whore. The college boys enjoyed spring break, but I gave them one to remember. She said, many spring breakers actually called it a bonding experience. They enjoyed every second of it, as did I. It was an incredible success for both the boys and I. I'll for sure be returning next year. Blue reportedly checked IDs and used protection during the event. In addition to the usual precautions, Blue also made Willing John sign consent forms. What in the world?
That right there just shows just how deranged societies have become. That's the level that we've stooped to now. You got these people online selling themselves, and then they show up to a spring break just to do that.
That's just insane. And then I guess her and another girl that plan on returning next year, she says, now we know exactly what we want, how we want to do it, and how we want to film. So they're trying to maximize the number of men that they can get next year.
And they're making money off of it.
And she says, we're going there with one purpose only. We want to film with as many people as possible. Hopefully we'll do 4 or 5 scenes a day. Sometimes when we film, there will be 5 guys at once, so sometimes we'll just film all together on my sofa. We actually deep cleaned it this weekend. Wow. Jezebel's spirit eaten by dogs. After you get ran through by them, they're going to eat you. That's the demise. That's what happens in the end when you choose to be a promiscuous whore. There's a survey that said this. 1 in 5 U.S. women have considered OnlyFans. 1 in 5 equates to 21%. 21% of women. Guess what? That's your sister, your daughter, your cousin, someone's mom.
Your girlfriend, your wife.
Disgusting. Why?
It's the complete degradation of morality. Nobody cares about doing what's right anymore. Everybody wants to please themselves.
Yep.
People are materialistic. And so instead of, following the Lord and doing what matters, like having a family, being just good, upstanding, moral people, they've debased themselves like this for money.
For money.
They want to be able to have
I think it's
the
deeper than
Instagram
money.
likes, the the fancy trips and vacations and stuff, and that's all people care about, really.
I'm living my best life.
That's it. The friggin' Instagram is the only man they want to please. That's it.
The Instagram men, the cucks of Instagram. So nowadays, I think it's easier than ever for women to have their place in the work field. There's tons of successful women who don't engage in sex work, who don't sell their bodies, who don't thrive off of attention. I think the problem now is that it's not just about money anymore. I think these women are doing it because they're starved of male attention, because they didn't have a male role model in their lives when they were younger, and this is the result.
Yep.
It's disgusting. I saw a girl with an OnlyFans that she was promoting all over her Facebook. In her bio, she had a Bible verse.
I love that.
How?
They're out here making a complete mockery of the Bible, and yet they're putting up a verse, like trying to make themselves seem like a good person.
Dude.
Like, I think it's because they feel guilty, and they think that having a Bible verse on there like somehow makes it better.
Absolutely. It makes you look more mentally unstable. If you weren't mentally unstable before, let's add a Bible. Let's mix oil and water and call it good. I actually asked her. I wasn't rude. I was like, I noticed you have a Bible verse in your bio, and then you're promoting your OnlyFans account. How does that work? Well, I have a really hard time right now, and I'm trying to make a living, and I don't have a car, and all this other stuff, and God would understand. He says it's best not to judge, so you should stay in your lane, and blah, 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 blah. I'm like, if you really believe in God, I'm quite sure that he'll make a way for you to survive and get past this hard time. And then I was like, and after you do, you won't feel guilty about what you had to do to get through that hard time, because you can say, God helped me. Not only fans,
You know what it means?
not cucks.
You know what it means when they say, "Oh, don't judge"? It means let me sin in peace. Leave me alone. That's what it means.
Yep. And then women wonder why they can't find a good man. And guess what?
Because we're not going to take you after you
We're
sold
not
yourself to
gonna
everybody
take you.
else.
Men don't want to get married anymore because
We're practical.
Of all
We're not
this.
gonna pay full price for an overused item.
that sounds like a bad deal. You ever go on like Auto Trader or any other online car shopping websites, and it says if it's a good deal or not, if it's undervalue, overvalue, all the miles. You know what we need? We need a woman's fax. Not how you have a car fax. This is the maintenance. This is the owners. This
How
is
many
that.
how many people have been here?
Yeah, how many people have been
previous
here?
owners?
How hard has it been driven? Are these highway miles or back roads? How many? How many owners? How many accidents has it had?
How many times has it been totaled? For real, if women had to walk around with their body count on their forehead, they would sleep with a lot less people. I wish that were the case.
Life would sure be different. All right. So do women, with all this information out here, do women even want to be wives anymore? That's a real question.
They want to be married, but they don't want to be wives.
I don't think
They want to be able to have the ring and have the wedding and be able to brag to all their friends, say, yeah, I'm married, I got a man, blah, blah, blah. But they don't want all the responsibility and all the work. that comes with being a wife. They don't want to submit and obey their husband. They don't want to, do all the wifely duties and things that are required of a wife.
Correct. Women don't want to be wives.
Sad.
And that's why men don't want to be husbands. If women wanted to be wives first, men would want to be husbands.
Men do want to be husbands, but they're just not doing it.
Because there's no wives.
Yeah, there's no wives to be
And actually, just so everyone knows, a future wife is going to carry herself like she's going to be a future wife. It's not something that happens after she gets a ring. She's going to be like that before.
She's going to be a wife. She's not going to have a hoe phase. She's not going to be wild. She's not going to be out here drunk and partying. She's going to be a wife from start to finish. She's somebody's wife, but she's just not married to them yet. That's how she's going to be.
Yeah, that was good. I'm going to remember that. All right. So this is something I found from a statistic. The average age of marriage in the United States is approximately 28.6 years old for women and 30.5 years old for men. It's worth noting that the average age of marriage in the United States has been steadily increasing over the years. That's not by coincidence. Sounds like women are taking longer to mature and get past their hoe phase in their career, finding themselves at the beach, pleasing 122 men for OnlyFans. I got to worry about my financial security first. And in the meanwhile, they get ran through, and it's basically just a loop back around. Now I'm 10 years older, I have money, but my value is zero.
Sad but true.
Here's some more divorce statistics. Women initiate divorce more often than men, with nearly 70% of women initiating divorce. You imagine you're married. You've agreed to be with someone for the rest of your life. Contract on paper in front of God and everyone else. And then you leave them to get pumped and dumped. I want to find my worth.
A lot of women do that. They get what it is they get unhappy and they are, all on social media seeing these seemingly great lives that these other women are living. And they're like, "Oh, I want that." So just this past week, I've read like 3 stories of these women who had just the perfect husband. And
they're just not happy.
They were like, "Oh, he's just not doing it for me." So they leave him. Like there was this famous soccer player or whatever. His wife divorced him. It was a freaking headline article. Said he was perfect. He never betrayed me. He never did this or that. He gave me a beautiful family. He was just too perfect is what she said.
Sounds like she had too many mental issues.
Mentally deranged. Like you left a perfectly good man.
73
broke up your family. Keep going.
73% of third marriages end in divorce. I wonder if people that live this type of lifestyle read the statistics. Like, I'm gonna leave this person, but 73% of third marriages end in divorce. And then it says this: 40% of new marriages include a partner who is remarrying. So even though that third marriage could be someone's third marriage, but your first marriage, that 73% still applies to that marriage as a whole.
Yep. So odds are it's just going to end in divorce anyway, which is why most men aren't doing it, because we're smart.
It's not worth it.
It's not worth the time and effort to build into somebody who's just going to completely tear it all to pieces and who's going to continue to have other men on the side. It's just...
Exactly. And here's some other really interesting facts, too. It says divorcees are more likely to die earlier than married people. Man, misery. Miserable.
This is an interesting one where couples who live together before marriage are more likely to divorce. I never saw that one before. That's pretty interesting.
This is even actually a confirmation of what we've been talking about with women and their hoe friends. Having friends who are divorced increases your risk of divorce.
You are who you hang out with.
That's why we
hang
don't
out with all these nasty people. You're going to be, 5 nasty people, you're going to become the 6th.
Exactly. So with all this Jezebel spirit going around, we know that they end up getting eaten by dogs, whether that's literally or figuratively, in the end. And they die miserable, divorced. It might be great for a while, all these girls making millions of dollars off cucks, selling their dignity for $7.99, however much it is.
And in the end, when the sweetness wears off of the sin, you're left with just the sin, and it's bitter.
Yep. So here's some statistics from certain studies about sex working women with their regrets. I bet you didn't know I was going to say that.
There's lots of it.
A 2018 study published in the Journal of Interpersonal Violence found that 64% of women in the sex trade reported experiencing exploitation and 59% reported feeling regret. Interesting. They don't feel shame while they're doing it or while they're thinking about it. 1 in 5.
That's not something they tell you when you're sitting there wanting to get into it.
Nope.
But after the deed's already done and you already ruined yourself, that's when it hits you, once it's too late.
After you're already trapped. A 2020 survey conducted by the International Union of Sex Workers found that 45% of the respondents reported feeling regret or remorse about their involvement in the sex industry. A 2019 study published in the Journal of Sex Research found that women who exited the sex trade reported higher levels of regret and shame. I wonder why. It's weird.
It's almost like your conscious takes over, and it's almost like it's been trying to tell you the whole time. Now you're just waking up and realizing.
That's weird, man.
I know, right? Crazy.
Why do they do that? So you can't just blame the women in this scenario, though.
Because the men take part.
The men, it's like, okay, women are on OnlyFans. Why? Because it's cheap money or easy money
because
and
simps
attention.
pay.
And the men are supporting.
Simps pay.
They're basically creating, the men that pay for all this stuff are creating these monster females. They now have millions of dollars. They're driving the cars that you guys want. They're getting the bodies, the plastic surgery, going on the vacations, the private jets, all this stuff. And it's all supported by men. That's ridiculous.
You know what it all comes back to, though? It all comes back to men. If men would stop supporting that type of thing,
yep.
There you go. Stop supporting it. You know, men nowadays need to realize that we run and control everything on this planet. We invented everything. We built everything. We maintain everything. So ultimately, everything is within our power to make changes to. So if we're seeing this stuff, we can wake up and realize, hey, this is not what we want. We can change it. It's just the fact that you got to grab your balls, have a backbone, and do what is unpopular. And a lot of men just won't do that.
They want to be lazy. They want to go down to the pub with their mates and drink beer and watch the ball game and jerk off.
And let their women tell them what to do. Like, what kind of a man is that?
That's not a man.
Men should be hard to kill, impossible to control, very resistant to manipulation, right? And you should be the one that is in charge of your life. You should be the one that wears the pants in your house and your relationship and all these things. You should be the leader. The minute you let a woman take over and lead, everything is going downhill. You've taken an extremely wrong turn. That woman is going to lead you to destruction. And then once you're there in that state, she's going to leave you because women are not built to fill that type of a role. And they fail in that role every single time.
Last time women took a lead and did something, they doomed humanity forever. Hey, Adam, look, I just ate this apple. You need to do it too. While she's naked, bouncing her titties in his face, and he's like, okay, babe. Boom. Humanity destroyed. That's what happens when you allow women to make decisions.
Yeah. So, men, you guys have to grow up. You got to work on yourselves. You got to maintain a good relationship with God, your fitness. You have to get a good knowledge base under you so you have the ability to lead properly. Because that's another thing. A lot of times these women feel like they have to go out here and become the men that they want because there are no men leading the right way. So, and it's pretty sad.
It's heartbreaking. It's devastating what's going on.
Moment of silence. And, you know, this whole like Jezebel spirit thing or whatever, it's easy to spot. You know, you can see like the attitude or whatever, like we were talking before about, you know, that viral post about, you know, fellas, you letting your girl go out like this or whatever. Like, especially with summer on the way, like this is going to be a huge topic for, you know, the foreseeable future. Because these women are going to want to be out here. They're going to be wanting to go to the beach, the pool, out with their friends, all this stuff. Like, it's going to, you know, you're going to be able to see who's who. And a lot of times you can see who's who just by the way they dress. That's a really good, quick, easy way to tell what you're working with.
Right. It's fun.
Okay. Just wanted to check.
You said something that was interesting, and I want to make it a point that you said it's really easy to spot, but not if you are jaded to it. So if you're used to seeing it all the time, then technically that becomes the new norm, and you see a girl dressed like a whore, and that's just normal. Oh, okay, big titty Debbie or whatever. Like, you know. And you know what's interesting? You have several women on social media, even ones that don't have OnlyFans. It's just constant titties.
Yep, they're
and
constant.
ass. They're posing at the gym with their butt, or they all have their titties.
They're
out.
wanting that validation. They're wanting the attention and the validation, and social media gives it to them, so they keep on going.
Yep. Well, I think that about wraps it up.
Pretty much wraps it up. We're good. So, just to recap real quick, watch out for that Jezebel spirit. Make sure that you guys are on your game. You're doing what you're supposed to be doing. And pretty much don't allow yourself to be controlled and manipulated by women with that type of a mentality. Because it will get you nowhere but misery.
And just remember that if a woman has to dress half naked to feel like a bad bitch, then she's actually the traditional definition of a bad bitch. Which is evil.
Not the good kind
She's
of bad.
a bad bitch for real. All right, we'll catch you guys next time.
All right. Peace out, guys. Stay dangerous.